For my flesh is true bread, and my blood is true drink. Mealtime is not just about eating, right? When we were all growing up, it was common practice, customary, if not for some mandatory, to come to the table and to eat together. I don't know about you, but we always had a dining room at home, no matter how small or big the house was. During Jesus' time, it was not much different. Probably it was a lot different because there was less technology and less distractions for the whole family. There were no cell phones to text and to browse. And there was no TV. So they probably looked forward to at least that kind of time. Even if the kids were messing with each other, they had something to do. We don't do that, right? Our kids don't do that. But the meal time, whether it was the evening meal or whichever meal was the main meal, was a time to catch up. Time to share about each other's lives. A time to talk about our histories, what we were going through. In the Old Testament, when they say, keep these commandments and teach it to your children and your children's children, that would be one of the primary places that took place, around the meal. When we have meals together, we hope that is what will happen too. In the case of Center, when we meet after church, that's what I see happening, right? It's not just about the food. It's about getting to know each other. It's about building meaningful relationship. It's about deepening our love for each other, our care for each other, because we know what's going on in each other's lives. Well, as much as we are brave and open to share with each other. Jesus seems to love to eat too. So I think most of us sitting here in good company. All Lutherans love to eat, the world tells us. It's the second, it's one of the sacraments in the Lutheran Church to have cakes and coffee. When you're up north, it's definitely donuts and coffee because it's cold for most of the year. Jesus, through the narrative, we see that Jesus spends a lot of time talking to people around meals. Even when he was walking through the street and he saw Zacchaeus up the tree, he said, Zacchaeus, come down, I'm coming to your house for tea. No, I don't think he said for tea, but here we are. I'm coming to your house. I'm going to share a meal with you. We know what happened at Zacchaeus' house. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Because he sat down and broke bread and spoke to him. It was common. It's not surprising then when Jesus wanted to celebrate the Passover meal, he said to his disciples, we are going to go to a special room set up for us. One of the icons, the religious icons of the church is the picture of the Last Supper. It's around the meal. Yes, we celebrate it like we will do today, to remember the Lord's death and resurrection and his coming again. But really it was a meal that they were sharing around the table. So it's not surprising that this whole text, which I hope is not becoming tiresome for the last few weeks, has been about Jesus Christ being the bread. that his body is the bread and his blood is wine, the wine is his blood. Like you see in this text, it was a hard thing for people to accept. The Jews especially were looking for every excuse to stop it. They wanted to stop the spread of his message, and so they stuck with this. Can he really give us his flesh? How can we eat his flesh? Jesus used this passage, used the imagery of the bread and wine because everyone knew it. Whether you were rich or poor, it was common in the culture of the time, in the custom of that time, in the economics of that time, for every meal to have bread and wine. Houses, no matter how rich or poor, had an oven. Well, not a plug-in, right? But an oven with coal or wood, and they baked bread regularly. Because it was hot, they couldn't bake a lot of bread and keep it in the cupboards. They had to bake it regularly. So it was common, whether you were rich or poor. In the poor homes, it was bread, some kind of stew. Some people say it would be common to have lentil soup. And then wine and yogurt. Some are smiling because all of those things are favorite to you. So when Jesus said that I am the bread, my body is the bread and my blood is the wine, he was talking to everyone. And those that opposed him, he was saying to them, well, this is the only way you can be able to follow me. This is the only way you can have real life. If you eat my bread and drink my cup. He went further, especially for those that were doubting. He says, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no part in me. It sounds gruesome. It sounds almost like a scene from Dracula. Okay, let's get that image out of our heads. But Jesus was putting it in their face to let them know that this was a new way. That this was a way that is different. This was a way of the true bread and the true wine. Not what your fathers and mothers of old ate in the wilderness, even though that was needed and that was good. This is the true bread and the true wine. That is me. So, what is the true bread and the true wine? What does it mean for us? I think we know after these last few weeks, or even throughout our lives, that the bread and the wine represents the body and blood. But why does Jesus emphasize true here? The true bread and the true wine. Yes, I just said it was trying to distinguish from the past, but we hear from the New Testament that Jesus is called, if you follow the narrative of the Gospel of John, from which this text is from today, it starts off with declaring that Jesus is the true Word. Jesus is the true light. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light. That no one comes to the Father except through Him. The truth of Jesus and His Word, the truth of the existence of Jesus as the Son of God, is emphasized in the letter of John. True bread and true wine is the true love of God that we see in Jesus. God is love. John says in his epistle, the first epistle, chapter 4, verse 8, God is love, and anyone who loves knows God, because God is true love. Jesus is saying, I am love. This true bread and this true wine is love. So dare to eat this. Dare to drink this. I'm saying dare because true love showed itself to us through the gospel by sacrifice. True love showed itself in those years that Jesus was on the earth through much pain, through much sacrifice, through hardship, through commitment, through giving itself. True love does not preserve itself, but true love tries to preserve others. True love does not try to save itself so that it will last a long time, but true love gives itself away. Do we have that true love? That's the question God is asking you and I today. Do we have that true love? Do we give until it hurts? And I'm not just talking about money. Do we give up ourselves until it hurts, or are we just happy with just simply giving? If you and I don't experience pain in our giving, pain in our loving, then we don't really have that true love. We know this by looking at the life of Jesus. Because the world caused him pain, and he caused a lot of pain to other people, the disciples, his mother, who was also his disciple, and all those around him. And because they experienced the pain and the sacrifice of love through Jesus Christ, they continued to be that love in the world. And so, how are we that today? True love takes risks. True love is not afraid. True love seeks to be the light of the world, the salt of the earth. True love says to itself, it's my responsibility to bring the gospel to the world, to show this love of Christ through our island. Many of us might serve, but we might be serving out of comfort. Are you with me? Very often people who serve others because they have the comfort of serving others. They are able to serve others without themselves becoming uncomfortable. Jesus struggled with that. We see in the Garden of Eden, he said, Father, if this cup could pass, please let it pass. He said to his disciples, as you take this love to the world will meet you. He didn't promise anyone that as you serve, you will feel fulfilled. And the world tells us that. Serve others and you'll feel fulfilled. The world tells us that true joy comes in giving of yourself to other people. Being given. Jesus goes further to say, you must give until it hurts. You must not preserve your life. Those who preserve their lives will lose it. It was hard for the people around to hear that. And Jesus made sure, he emphasized, unless you eat the true bread, the true wine, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you're not part of me. As we share meals together, whether with strangers, whether with people that we know, as we walk around this week, through places of business, to work, or places of pleasure, let's look at our own lives and see whether we love in a way that makes us feel uncomfortable. In a city that has all kinds of problems, how are we responding as Christians? Our church, where we are located, has a lot of people coming by during the day or calling, saying that they are struggling with life. Sometimes we have to refer them to mental health centers. Sometimes we just have to sit and listen. You know, it's not so easy to sit and listen without trying to find a solution, without trying to pacify people. When someone tells you that they are going through a hard time, the inclination is to simply pacify them or to tell them, I know what you're going through. I've been through that myself. When we do that, we are minimizing the pain that they feel. True love does not do that. True love is always present when people are in pain. It's easier to reach into our pockets and give people $5 or $2 or a couple of cents than it is to spend time talking, to spend time hearing, and to spend time showing people that Jesus loves them in a real, personal, and true way. That is drinking the true blood and eating the true bread. Jesus Christ told them all of this, but he also offered it to them. You see, he was not just telling the Pharisees, the Jews, the religious righteous about this because he wanted to show them up, but he was saying, I'm offering you that. Come and eat of my flesh and drink of my blood, and then you will live. Just as I live because of the Father, you will live because you eat my flesh and drink of my blood. That is available to us every day. Brothers and sisters, that's available to you today. As we gather around the table today and you eat and drink of the symbolic blood and bread of Jesus Christ, let's ask the Lord to help us know this true food, but also that we would show His true love. Amen.